fallout, smoke, women crying for their sons because their sons are not, Romans killing riotous groups that are rising up. Free Judea, free our people, autonomy for Israel. You had Herod, an Edomite, and his dynasty. Herod's ruling, killing any potential threat, any potential Messiah. Then you had the Pharisees and the Sadducees, that we learn from Josephus are not Jews by birth. No.
Brothers and sisters, they are there. We are not lost. We are scattered. We are original Hebrew.
Let's go! All praises be to the Most High God. Yeah, I say it.
I was opportune to meet my grandparents, whom from childhood had always made us to understand that we are one of the lost tribes of Israel. Okay. So from my grandmother.
Right. Now look at these. Yeah, I'm telling you, I gotta show y'all. A picture speaks 1,000 words. Just look for yourself. And this is the creme de la creme. All praises be to the Most High, y'all. Everything we've been through, y'all, the Most High is going to retribute it on all the nations that have had a hand in the oppression of his apple, the apple of his eye, his chosen people, his beloved, his fervent lover, his only begotten. They're going to have their part in the lake of fire. You see them tormented by some kind of creature. I don't even know what that even is, y'all. Judgment in chains. He that led into captivity shall go into captivity. All praise to the Most High, y'all. It said, thou that dwells in the clefts of the rock. Whoa. I know a lot of y'all know about the Caucasus Mountains. Let's just let the words speak. Let's go to verse 4. Though you exalt yourself as the eagle, and though you set thy nest among the stars. What's up, Zion Dynasty? This is your favorite dreaded Israelite, the man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. JB Zion. So family, this is monumental. I think I'm gonna have to do a couple of follow-up videos just to explain end-time prophecy again. There's a lot of subjects that I didn't deal with when I went into the beast system, the Antichrist, the false prophet. I covered a lot of that, but I didn't break down what has to happen in the end of days for everybody to know that the Messiah is here, the Messiah has returned, and that the millennial reign of the Messiah is at hand. Now, I kind of broke down a little bit of this to you guys, talking about the goal of the Messiah. This is a Hebraic, this is a Israelite perspective, right? The goal of the Messiah is to regather all the 12 tribes, bring them back to Zion, rebuild the temple, right? And establish a reign on earth above all nations, using the quote-unquote Jewish, or really the Israelite people, as a form of government, right? This is a nationalistic Messiah that is to come, and one of his jobs is to build the temple. So you all, I need you guys to think like that to really understand how groundbreaking that this is. Now, this article is from May 16th, 2022. At the time of me recording that, recording this, this is today. So I had to get this out to you guys to let you guys know that this is a big deal. Now, the article itself is from May 6th, so a week ago. I think this was the Independence Day of the Jewish people, and on celebrating their Jewish Independence Day, they actually have begun, I repeat, the Jewish people have actually begun building the third temple on Israel on their Independence Day. You guys have to know how historic this is, just to give you guys a perspective. This has not been done, or even working on any of the stones or anything like that has not taken place since the destruction of the second temple. To give you guys a little history, the first temple was built during King Solomon's days, the son of David. David wanted to build the temple for the Most High, and the Most High was like, you want to build me a temple, David? I will make you a temple. I will establish a covenant with you and your seed forever, that from your lineage will come the Messiah, the tabernacle that I would dwell in, and that I will remember your seed. There will always be a descendant of David to sit on the throne. So we see the Most High does not allow David to build the temple, but actually Solomon comes and builds the temple. Now, this temple we see was destroyed in antiquity. Now, during the time of the captivities of Ezra and Nehemiah, the Babylonian captivity, the Medo-Persian captivity specifically, we see that Ezra and Nehemiah received support from Cyrus, the King Cyrus of the Persians, the Medo-Persians, to go back to the land of Jerusalem and to rebuild their temple. Now, this is a Gentile king that allows them to return back to their land, even though they're still under the Medo-Persian Empire, but allowed them to rebuild. This is the second temple. Now, the second temple was destroyed in 70 CE or 70 AD when General Vespasian and his son Titus made an end to the Jewish state. There were so many rebel rousers, so many Mashiach, Zealot, Sakari groups that were rising up, that were giving the Romans problems, that they destroyed the temple. Yeshua prophesied this, that because they rejected him, that not one stone would be left. Now, y'all keep in mind how powerful every element of this process is. Even for a Jew to begin moving stones around on the area, they cannot do so unless they receive authority from the Jewish government. And this is only if they believe that the Messiah has given them authority to do so. So you all, this beginning building on the third temple means they believe the Messiah is here today. Now, this gets a lot. Now, when you look at Judaism, when you look at Christianity, the Christians believe in Yeshua's return. Now, we as Israel, I'm just giving you guys everybody's perspective so you can see before I show mine necessarily. So Christians believe in Yeshua's return, that being that return of David the Messiah, that he would conquer all the enemies of the Most High and establish his government. Now, the Christians believe this is for the church. We as Israel believe this is for Israel. Now, this is a whole nother concept. Now, when you look at the Jewish people, they believe that the Messiah is going to come for them as a people, for the Jewish people, restore them, return the exiles that have been scattered all the way back to the Assyrian captivity, that have been scattered due to the fall of Jerusalem, that the Messiah would regather them, rebuild the temple, and war against the Armalists, or the Gog and Magog, the enemy nations of the Israelite people. Now, let's read a little bit of this article. Y'all don't know how powerful this is. Something like this, maybe once a year you might hear talks about the rebuild of the third temple, or that they're planning on doing this. Now, understand, family, they have everything that they need to reconstruct. They have the blueprints. They have all of this, all the materials necessary. They're just waiting on the go-ahead to do so. This is about the Messiah's return and them believing that he is at hand. Now, y'all, I have my own personal beliefs. I'm just trying to give y'all this from a unbiased perspective. This is from the Israel 365 News Network. Very credible. Now, let's read a little bit. Now, while most Israelis were celebrating the Independence Day by having fun or family barbecues, a small group gathered in the old city of Jerusalem and began chipping away at stones. Now, a lot of y'all are like, well, what's the big deal about chipping away at stones? This is strictly forbidden. They are not even allowed to create the apothecary anointing oil. You can't even make the mixture. Now, this goes back to the Levitical law that it was strictly for the high priest, for the Messiah himself. So they've already begun working on that specific anointing oil as well. Y'all can look into that for yourselves. So we see that on their Independence Day, a certain group began chipping away at stones, signifying that they had received authority to do so, preparing them to be used to build the prophesied third temple. The event was organized by Rabbi Aryeh Lipo, who envisioned it while he was on his way to the funeral of Rabbi Chaim Kanevsky. I hope I'm pronouncing it. I know I'm probably not. In March, Lipo ascends to the Temple Mount on a daily basis when the Israeli police allowed the Jews to enter, but was deliberating with a friend which was more important, to attend the funeral of the righteous Jew or to ascend to the Temple Mount. Now, to honor the rabbi, he and a friend were learning Torah law ruling written by the rabbi with the K, in which he stated that the stones for the temple had to be cut by Jews with the intention of honoring the Most High's name. So they're not even allowed to work on the stones, chip away at them, and they have to be Jews, and this has to be an official proceed. It's not like you could just go up to the Temple Mount and start doing this. This is a sacred event where they don't allow anybody to do it unless they believe that the Messiah is at hand. Now, we have a mitzvah to build the temple. This mitzvah is not conditional or time bound. We have this requirement at all times, so it is a pity that we are not actively engaged in. Right now, it is a politically complicated, or it is politically complicated for us to build or begin building on the Temple Mount, but that does not exempt us from this mitzvah. So now we're going to scroll down a little bit, guys. So they're just going into why they're not allowed to do this, why this is such a sacred event, that they do recognize the hope for the temple during the mitzvah, but in terms of building or doing anything like that, this is forbidden. We see it was, of course, forbidden to use iron tools at any stage to form the stones for the altar. So this is a big deal, y'all. Now we're going to scroll down to get into the actual process where Rabbi Lippo, here it is. As an aside, Rabbi Lippo has already begun collecting stones for the altar. Rabbi Lippo cited Rabbi Tzvi Yehuda Cook, who in 1937 wrote an article relating to Ezekiel's vision of the Jews returning to Zion. So they believe that the Israelite people, the diaspora, are returning. They believe the Messiah is at hand. They've already begun collecting the stones. We're going to see a clip of the rabbi actually chipping at the stones, which has not been done since the destruction of the Second Temple. It talks about the Israelite people receiving a new heart. So I'm just going to show you guys the article, then I'm going to give my thoughts on it. They said that the Shekinah has never left the Western Wall. This is where they have remnants of. So y'all, as you can see on this picture, they've begun collecting stones, and they actually have iron tools that they're using to chip at these stones that will be used for the third temple. Y'all, they already have the resources to do this. When I say 1 to 3 months, I know less than a year. If once they receive that official go ahead to just go ahead and lay it up. Right now they're just collecting the stones and doing the groundwork, but this could go up by the next year, you guys. This is some big stuff. This looks like either the Messiah that they're hoping for or the Antichrist. I'm gonna put all this out for you guys and let you guys kind of look into this for yourself. But we see the stones being collected. Now let's see. Oh, here we go. All of the rabbis we consulted agreed that we should begin preparing the stones, Lippo said. This wasn't just a physical action to produce dressed stones. We had to be very careful about our intentions. Of course, this was not a political statement. So they're saying that this is a big deal. This is not us just doing a dress rehearsal. That when they began doing this, everybody had to be on one accord. That means they have full conviction that the Messiah and the Messianic age for the Israelite people is at hand. The diaspora will return back to Zion. And this is from the Jewish people perspective, right? Now let's keep going. The intention was to unify the Jews and all the world in making the Most High Yah one and his name one. It was for this reason that they chose to begin forming the stones for the third temple on Israel's Independence Day, right? So y'all, this is a big deal that's going on right now. We even have a video of Rabbi Lippo chipping away at the stone. So as y'all can see that they're legit about this thing. Joshua Wadner took part in the event while cutting the stones. Wander wore tefillin and had his sidearm ready, personifying the prophecy of Nehemiah. So y'all, this is legit, y'all. They are preparing for something. Now we just gonna talk about this a little bit. I'm just gonna kind of let you guys see what days we're living in, y'all. We are living in the end of days. We are living in the return of the Messiah. As we as Israel say, our Messiah, the Israelite Messiah, the Black Messiah, right? That is coming to restore Zion, regather us family. We're getting close, y'all. I'm telling y'all, the nations know that something is among us big. They know that the Messiah is here. Now, just to give y'all some prophetic background, the reason I'm talking in this way is there's a lot that's going on. Now, when we look at the concept of the return of the Messiah, there is said to be the anti-Messiah, the Antichrist, or the Messiah that the world is awaiting, All right. Now, this is not linked to the actual Messiah, but there is said to be a false one that's going to come first. Now, the reason I bring this up is there is going to be a strong delusion that's getting ready to happen, y'all. At the same time, when that false Messiah does come, this signifies the return of the true Messiah, the Messiah of the Israelite people. Now, this is why I tell you guys to all the videos that I talk about the lineage, knowing that the Messiah is not no blonde-haired, blue-eyed, or no ish person, that this is an Israelite. This is the true Messiah. This is Yeshua, right? And I'm not talking about the Yeshua that they show us on TV or on the Passion of the Christ or Chosen and all the rest of this stuff. But the world is waiting for their Messiah, and Zion, we're waiting on the return of the true Messiah. Now, it's important that y'all understand this, because things are about to get real deceptive real quick in these last days. The Jewish people, we don't know if they're preparing because they know that the true Messiah is coming, highly unlikely, or is it because they believe that their Messiah is among them and they already have a leader that they are ready to anoint as this universal world icon. Y'all, this stuff is about to get real big real quick. And it's sad to say, but a lot of our people are going to be lost in the sauce. A lot of our people are going to be deceived. This is why the awakening is so important, family. Y'all hear me? This is why knowing who the people are, knowing the historical Yeshua, this is why knowing his lineage, knowing that he's going to be a black man with woolly hair. A lot of people are awaiting this white savior to come, or this pale-skinned savior that's blood does not go back to ancient Israel. Because y'all got to keep in mind, we're talking about Yeshua that lived 2,000 years ago.
Wait a second. He had hair like the pure wool, arms and feet the color of brass. He was sent to save his people Israel, to get them back to the land they've been carried into captivity. It frees our people by knowing the truth of who that man is. And that's the red pill.
This is not the modern fair-skinned Israeli, or even, we know, not the blonde-haired, blue-eyed version, right? But the nations are awaiting the return of the Messiah, and they're waiting for their blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus to return. And that's why, family, we got to stay prayed up. We got to stay in the spirit, because even a lot of our people that say that Israel doesn't matter, knowing that lineage doesn't matter, Israel's done away with in Christ, neither Jew nor Gentile, all of this creates a sleep veil over the eyes of our people, that they're not going to be looking for the return of Yeshua based on the scriptures. They're not believing on Yeshua with the bronze skin, right, and the feet that are color of brass as if it burned in the furnace, the hair with the pure wool that we see in Daniel chapter 7, as well as Revelation 1:14 through 15. So if you're not looking in the right direction, the Bible tells us that he's going to come as a thief in the night. Now, this right here is a big global deal. Them building the temple is a worldwide statement. This is going before, well, this is a trumpet sounding in the spirit that their Messiah is at hand. I say their Messiah because, family, I do not think that they are anticipating a woolly-haired Negro to arise. Now, at the same time, I wouldn't put it past these people to raise up a puppet leader. He could be any false leader. He could look like us, y'all. I'm telling you. So you have to stay in the spirit, because that black brother could say, well, my maternal lineage goes back to the Ashkenazi Jews, and our people would run after that thing. That's why I do these lineage teachings on Ephrati and the ancient Negro African Christ of the scriptures, to get our brains to be fine-tuned to anticipate the truth over the lie, right? Because they're gonna have their puppet leader Messiah that seems like, and I'm just putting it out there, right? Because I don't know what their intentions are, because they could very well be getting the stones ready because they know the Messiah is coming and they're gonna flee to Ukraine or something, and they know this black man's gonna come and rule the earth. So you have to be very careful with what they're doing and watching the intentions, because this is a big deal. Like I said, they haven't even been working on the stones since the fall of Jerusalem, which Christ himself prophesied. Yeshua said, he said not one stone would be left. They burned everything to the ground, the Romans. And a lot of our temple was made of gold. They burned that, they liquefied that and just brought it to the ground. They eradicated the foundation. We hear Edom saying in the Psalms, I believe, race it, even to the foundation thereof. So it was wiped out. They already have the blueprints though ready. They have the resources to rebuild it, but they haven't touched one stone because it's cursed. And Yeshua already prophesied this. So when you see that they're chipping at stones with an iron tool that is banned according to Levitical law, that they're working on the apothecary, and I'm gonna do some follow-ups to go into detail on what they're doing with the apothecary, the red heifers that have to be offered up as a sacrifice right when this temple goes up. I can do a follow-up for you guys and just go into detail about the two witnesses, what's gonna happen, y'all. Do some more end-time prophecy because we are in the last days, family. They know the Messiah is at hand, which makes a red flag go off in my head, y'all, because I'm like, what Messiah are they talking about? I know they're not talking about the black Messiah. I know they're not talking about Yeshua according to history. They're not talking about the Israelite, right? But are they? Are they preparing? Because we already know that Khazaria 2.0 is going on actively. The world event of the sympathy towards Ukraine and that whole political thing is going on right now to create a Jewish state over there. So could they be kind of doing a last peace treaty and they're going to run to Ukraine? And we come from an Israelite perspective, fam. We come from the so-called diaspora of the transatlantic, being the actual descendants of the ancient Israelites prior to the 1948 construction of the Jewish state. The Limba tribe, y'all check out that Limba video, live in Transvaal in southern Africa. They were a migrant group that, according to oral tradition, originated in Yemen, right? Now, this makes sense. Even the Yorubas claim coming from Medina, coming from Saudi, coming from that eastern area during the fall of the Assyrians. The Limba are a little bit different. They trace during the time of the fall of the temple in 70 CE, but there's so many migrations, y'all, of Israelites going into Africa at different periods that it can get overwhelming with just how many different groups went deeper into the continent. Now, the Limba have some Jewish practices, a lot of them, y'all. We saw that documentary, such as constraints on intermarriage, right? With non-Limba, they said, stay with your people, invest in the stock of your people. And they have a Y DNA linked to the Kohanim, the Aaronic priest, right? The Y chromosome known as the Cohen modal haplotype. You will see when they tested their E1B1, or they tested their DNA, it was E1B1A. Now, let's read this, y'all. In Mali, several thousand people in Timbuktu claim some form of Jewish ancestry. Moors, Israelites fleeing persecution in Spain migrated south in the 4th century to Timbuktu, a part of the Songhai Empire. When you look at the Mali Empire, the Mali dynasty, the Songhai Empire, these were Israelite empires. I repeat, these West African empires, the Songhai, the Mali, were Israelite people by ethnicity. A lot of them practiced Islam, but you have to separate the religion from the ethnicity. Sometimes they're the same, most of the time they're not. Especially with our people fleeing persecution and being banned from keeping certain tenets of Torah, a lot of them adopted Islam. So among them was the Kati or the Kahath family, who founded 3 villages that still exist near Timbuktu. Askia Muhammad came to power in 1492 and forced the Israelites to convert to Islam or leave. This is why you can't let the religion be a stumbling block. A lot of them practice Islam, but most of them show their history. If they practice Islam, this can be linked to an event that happened where Islam was forced on Jews. So if anything, the more Islamic African tribes prove they are actually Israelites when you look at the history. After this Judaism became illegal in Mali. In Nigeria, the Igbo may be descended, look how they try to be crafty in case we read it, from the southern and westward migrations. Wait, westward? Beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, across the rivers of Ethiopia, beyond on the opposite side, which is West Africa. They may be descended from these southern and westward migrations to the Gold Coast, to Nigeria, of ancient Shemitic, i.e. Israelite people, so we can't be anti-Shemitic, and later Jewish peoples from the Middle East into West Africa. There are 3 groups: the Beni Gad, who are said to be descended from the tribe of Gad, the 8th son of Jacob; Beni Zebulun, from the tribe of Zebulun, the 5th son of Jacob; and the Beni Manasseh.
Okay, now this is Manasseh, who was one of the two sons of Joseph, those two components of the tribe of Joseph. The other component, the Beni Ephraim, are different from these other Nigerian Israelite groups, as they are strictly, exclusively living among the Yoruba, right? Now, in Western Ghana, the House of Israel community Sefwi Wiyawaso and Sefwi Swi claim that their Sefwi ancestors are descendant of Jews who migrated south through the Ivory Coast. Y'all, we got the Abba Judea that they say were founded in 1919. Ugandans who claim Judaism, who claim Judah, right? I ain't talking about Judaism like them Ish people. I'm talking about Torah, descendant from the tribe. We got Somalia, the Hebrew people there. Y'all, we got the tribe of Rusape in Zimbabwe. You got Yemen. Y'all can go through all these things, but I just want you guys to know that they linked that Moorish history, that Islamic history, to these North African, these African Israelite tribes. And this is the Encyclopedia of the Jewish Diaspora.
We go back, our DNA goes back to those ancient Judeans. When you look at the Limba tribe, when you look at the Igbo, when you look at the Ashanti, when you look at the Yoruba, of course, their oral tradition goes back to the ancient Israelites that were in Morocco, that were the Sephardics that were banished out of Spain, that had already been on this side, and those that had been banished 2,000 years ago. We do not. Those related to the David family, we find after the expulsion of the Jews from Spain, we find them in Morocco. So this coincides with the Yoruba oral tradition that first they were in Spain, they were banished to Morocco, and later migrated deeper into the Gold Coast of West Africa. Most of our people come from these Nigerian people. The major groups of the Nigeria, the Yoruba, the Igbo, and the Hausa, all have oral traditions going back to Israel. The majority of our people go to the Yoruba or the Igbo. That's why I'm highlighting the Yoruba, right? So we see, family, that we find that David family in Morocco. We find that Sephardic royal family in Morocco, and I just showed you guys that through the DavidicDynasty.org. So now we got the oral tradition. That oral tradition is verified by Cambridge. Ulysses Santa Maria also talks about in southern Nigeria, the natives call black Jews the strange people, or the Imo Yokwayim. Now, so you had Hamitic natives that knew about these Israelites that lived in Nigeria. Not just that, but you also had other Israelites that called them strange because some of our people were practicing Islam, right? So this is verified by Cambridge, the Cambridge University Press, about the B'nai Ephraim, or the Imo Yokwayim, right? They're called B'nai Ephraim, the sons of Ephraim. So y'all, it's fact on top of fact. I'm gonna show you guys also that Jewish Encyclopedia clip that also says this exact same information. Now let's go into the scientific side of it. Now, if you guys did your DNA, now this is 23andMe. I'm gonna show you guys my results where it goes into these things. If you do like your paternal test, like I told y'all, the paternal lineage establishes one's lineage or one's ancestry. You are who your father is, right? You trace your father's lineage by doing a paternal test. And the majority of you all, 95%, are gonna find E1B1A. Now, 23andMe changed their nomenclature, so you might see something like EZ16052 or some madness. This is basically saying you go back to haplogroup E, or you go back to the slave cargo ships, which we know through prophecy are Israelites that went through those curses. Now, when they give you a strange nomenclature, I'm gonna show you guys on isogg.org that you can search a lot of these. So a lot of y'all been messaging me about what is CTS 1000 and what is this and what is that. You can search these nomenclatures in isogg.org, or you can Google search isogg haplogroup E or something like that, and you should be able to control find, right, your nomenclature that 23andMe gives you. Now I'm searching EZ16052, and as you can see, that nomenclature is E1B1A. It's a descendant of E1B1A. All of this extra stuff means you're just a descendant, a mutation of E1B1A. That's the root, because if you scroll up, you'll see, family, that E1B1A is that foundation. Every time they add another letter, that's them having children over time. But your foundation is the same. DNA even tells the same story. You are who your forefathers are. You build on the foundation of those that came before you. This is why you see E1B1A add all these nomenclatures until they kind of create a new group over time. But our people are descended from the root foundation, E1B1, specifically E1B1A. And I'm going to show you guys through Harvard and other sources and other studies that they've done that they found E1B1 and E1B1A, the descendant of that, in ancient Israel. So let me pull that up for a second. We also see that even before the first temple, you had Israelites in Africa, in Morocco, from Eretz Israel. You had African Israelites that had been there way back during the first temple. Now it says a Jewish kingdom was set up there in Morocco, which was governed by the EPHRAIMITE family, then named Ephrati. So we see this connection with the Moorish history, the Moors that claim Moroccan heritage, right? A lot of those Moroccan Moors were Israelites that set up a Jewish kingdom before Islam and was governed by the EPHRAIMITE family. Now we see that when Islam spread through Africa, that a lot of these Jews were made to convert to Islam. And this is why a lot of our forefathers practice Islam to this day. From a lot of that spread of Islam going through Africa, but originally there was an old Jewish kingdom set up in Africa by the EPHRAIMITE family, the Ephrati family, and EPHRAIMITE, where you're getting Afri, are the people of Afri, Africa. Right? We do not subscribe to the Jewish people being linked to the biblical descendants of the ancient Israelites. We believe that they are actually Russian Khazars. This is why the whole Russian event with Ukraine being where a lot of these Germanic Jewry come from, they come from these Khazars. Arthur Koestler's 13th tribe, Shlomo saying these are Jewish or Ashkenazi geneticists and historians, Arthur Koestler and Shlomo saying, that all attest to this. Henry Ford and his International Jew work. Also, the $13 trillion secret by the colonel that I believe was related to President Wilson, or is it Roosevelt, right? So there's so much scholarship on them being linked to these Khazars. A lot of this history they try to downplay. 23andMe, a brother sent me an article where 23andMe found them to be Khazars, and they had to retract the statement because of so much outrage that these Ashkenazis had. So when they're building a temple, family, you have to really think about this. Are they building a temple to the God of the ancient Israelites, the Black Messiah that COINTELPRO and the Space Force is trying to fight the chariots, fight the return of Yeshua, even fight any Negro leader that is on earth today? So are they preparing for the Black Messiah? Or are they preparing for this Armilus deception? Y'all research Armilus and Gog and Armilus, ARMIL, I believe, US, that talks about this Christian Messiah that the world is going to be awaiting for, that the true Messiah, some people say Messiah ben Joseph, Messiah ben David, is supposed to come. Now y'all research Messiah ben David, Messiah ben Joseph, and when I say Messiah ben Joseph, it goes back to Ephraim. Y'all look it up. That's why I've been dropping these historical nuggets, and I'm gonna go more into detail because I haven't even broke down the prophecies of Ephraim about this Messiah being from Ephraim, and this Yeshua, the Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah. The scholar Ephrathite, ashiness or fruitfulness, an inhabitant or descendant of Ephraim. So one that inhabits Ephraim or is a descendant of Ephraim, or also is an inhabitant of Bethlehem, because these Ephraimites lived in Bethlehem, because Rachel in Genesis 35 verse 19 died in Bethlehem. All praises to the Most High Yah. Now I'm going to show y'all some more sources. H673 again, Ephrati. There's only one word in H673. And Ephrati means, it says an Ephrathite or an Ephraimite. That means that this could be interchangeable. It's the same word, Ephraimite, Ephrathite. Somebody just variated the word to dissociate Christ and David from Ephraim. Y'all, there has been a big plot against so-called Ephraimite or Ephrati African people to separate Northern Kingdom from Israel, to do away with the remembrance of Israel. The scholars know what I'm saying, y'all. Y'all research Messiah ben David by David C. Mitchell. I might put that picture up. Also, David and Ephraimite, by Christian C. Park. Y'all look into that. The scholars know about a black African Messiah that is to come, and this is the actual lineage of Yeshua. And this goes back to ancient Negro, Berber, dark-skinned Israelites that predate the 1948 Khazar Russians that are there today. So I don't know what they're preparing for, family. A sister also messaged me about this and sent me this article. I had another sister message and a brother as well on the channel about this, and they wanted me to break this down. I haven't seen none of Israel dealing with this. Y'all, a lot of, especially our older Israelite patriarchs, our elders, right? Double honors to all the elders, know how monumental this is. They have not even touched a stone on the ground because of how sacred this event is. They know that for them to do something like this, the Messiah is at hand. All of the Israelite, or the Jewish people, have to be on one accord with this, but we don't know who they're preparing for. They could be preparing for Armilus and this Christian Messiah that is coming, this universal white leader or Russian leader that's going to come and exalt himself in the temple as the desolation of abomination. And I'm going to do some more teachings on this stuff to give y'all more breakdown on the two witnesses, the two branches of Revelation. The Antichrist embodied. Now we know the spirit of the Antichrist denies the historical Yeshua. This goes into Armilus. This goes into the Western Christ, the European Roman Messiah, this European Edomite leader. And this is what I believe they're preparing for, y'all. There's about to be the revealing of the man of perdition. This European could be a ish leader that's going to try to be a world leader. The new world government, all of this is at hand, y'all. And I just need y'all to stay prayed up, stay in the spirit, stay woke, stay aware, stay cognizant, family. We are living in the in the last days, in bad timing, really, because it's about to get rough through here. But Zion, I want y'all to stay in the spirit, stay encouraged. Know that our salvation is coming, because if they're working on this, that means they have a man they're getting ready to anoint prince. And family, that means that the truth, the way, the truth, and the life, Yeshua's return, the black Messiah, is at hand, and he's coming to regather all of the diaspora and take us back home. So y'all stay in the spirit, stay encouraged. Y'all research this. This is on Israel 365 News, so this is credible. This is the actual Israeli people doing this article. This was last week, May 6th. They are chipping away at the stones. I showed you guys. They have the stones ready. They have iron tools, which is forbidden unless there is a consensus among all of the Jewish people. I showed y'all Rabbi Lipo, who was leading this whole endeavor on the Independence Day of. So y'all, this is iconic, right? Lipo's mother, who was born with the state of Israel 74 years ago, took part enthusiastically helping chip away the stones. So y'all research this article. I didn't read the whole thing. But this is a big deal. They believe Israel is about to return to the land, which is true. I just don't know if they're prepared for what they're really saying, or if this is a dress rehearsal deception that is to come before the truth happens. So y'all stay in the spirit, Zion. Also, if y'all find any articles like this, y'all send this stuff to your boy. If y'all want me to do discussions on different things, I've had a lot of y'all reaching out, just trying to help and saying, JB, we know that this is a massive work, and we just want to help out. So y'all send me any of these articles. Y'all comment when y'all find stuff like this, so I can share this with the family and let them know our salvation is closer than what y'all think. They're about to have this temple up within the next year, right? They already have the materials, they have the blueprint. So when they start chipping away at stones, we can see this 6 months tops get slated up, and that means that the Messiah is getting ready to come on the scene, y'all. I'm talking about the dress rehearsal one that they have, and our true Messiah, the black Messiah, the Savior of Zion, the regatherer of the diaspora of Yah's people. And I'm talking about the Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah. I'm talking about the black Messiah with the woolly hair and the bronze skin. We are in the last days, family. So y'all stay encouraged. Peace, blessings, shalom, family. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Y'all stay encouraged. Y'all stay in the spirit. Peace, love, blessings, and Israelite Moorish power to the diaspora of Zion, the 12 tribes scattered abroad. I love you all. Shalom. All praises.